Hello everybody, it's Game Judge here, and I have some very exciting news to share with you guys, especially if you're a Bethesda RPG fan. Let's just say Microsoft is making some big moves recently, and if you're a Nintendo or PlayStation fan, some of this news might come as annoying to you, so stick around to find out. First things first, if you're a Fallout fan or Elder Scrolls fan, then we just received some great news. This is according to an article by TheVerge.com with leaked information. It reads, before it was acquired by Microsoft, ZeniMax Media, the parent company of studios like Bethesda Game Studios and ID Software, was working on the remasters of the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Fallout 3, and a new entry in the Doom franchise. That's right, folks, you read that correctly. Fallout 3 and the Elder Scrolls Oblivion are getting a remaster. Yes. It also has some other unannounced game titles in there as well, such as a Doom DLC, and I'll link the article below if you're interested in reading more about those games. Now, this information was leaked by the court case that Microsoft had recently regarding the merger or acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Also, something to note here, this was before Microsoft acquired Bethesda and all of its divisions. Now, apparently ZeniMax Media, the parent company of Bethesda and ID Software, were the ones responsible for working on the Oblivion remaster and the Fallout 3 remaster. But let's take a step back here. Oblivion remaster was slated for release in fiscal year 2022, and Fallout 3 was slated for release in 2024. So what does this mean? I think with that recent acquisition by Microsoft, we should probably just scrap these dates, right? It's 2022, Oblivion hasn't came out, and technically Fallout 3 could still come out in 2024. But I think with Starfield recently releasing and that acquisition occurring, that maybe their focus is going to be shifted a little bit. So I think we should lower our expectations a little bit here. However, I do believe that the remasters will come out eventually. It's just a matter of when. I can't imagine them not wanting to release these games, considering how successful they were for Bethesda in their early gaming days, and then add to the fact that people like me are nostalgia lovers and we'll eat that right up. I am curious to see when they will release these now. They just released Starfield, and the next big game is Elder Scrolls 6, and that is years away. So I would love to see these released between now and Elder Scrolls 6 as sort of a buffer before Elder Scrolls 6 releases. Regardless, I am very excited about the news, as Oblivion and Fallout 3 hold a special place in my heart from my early gaming days. I mean, they're just classics for me. I love the exploration, the lore, the music by Jeremy Soule. I mean, I just find these games to be very beautiful. But anyway, so moving on to some more controversial news. A moment of silence for our PlayStation brothers and sisters. The Elder Scrolls 6 is slated to skip the PS5, and this comes from TheVerge.com that shows another leak from the same Microsoft court case that I mentioned earlier. I mean, Microsoft been leaking all over the place here. Somebody call the plumber. I know, bad joke, perhaps cringy joke, perhaps both, but I had to try. Anyways, the chart on the screen here shows exactly what I'm talking about. You can see here on the screen with this chart, it kind of lays it out nicely that the Elder Scrolls 6 is not coming out on the PS5, unfortunately, and is coming out on the Xbox and PC. I know this is a tough blow for PlayStation players, and I totally understand the backlash, but let me give you guys a defense or different viewpoint on this. As someone who owns an Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Switch, and Steam Deck, and more, I know, mega nerd, I believe I can provide some objectivity here. If we look at Xbox in the past and we look at PlayStation in the past, then let's be honest here, Xbox was getting spanked. I mean, when was the last time Xbox had an exclusive that made people think, wow, I need to get an Xbox? Oh wait, there isn't any. I actually regretted buying the Xbox One. I mean, it was just bad. I mean, PlayStation had Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Bloodborne, just to name a few. I mean, the list goes on. And then on Nintendo, you had Super Mario Odyssey, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Fire Emblem, to name a few. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that Xbox had to make a move long term to be competitive. So from a competition standpoint, it totally makes sense. They had to do what they had to do to survive, and I get it. I think some competition would be healthy as long as it doesn't get too out of hand. My PlayStation peeps, I know this doesn't make you guys feel any better, but hopefully this provides a better understanding as to why Microsoft is doing what they're doing. And the next thing I want to talk about is a release date for Elder Scrolls 6, and it's circled here on your screen, and it says expected release 2026 or later. Now, I thought this was interesting considering how long we have all been waiting for Elder Scrolls 6 with Skyrim remakes over and over. Thanks, Todd Howard. I mean, I was like 20 when Skyrim came out, and I'm 32 now. At this point, I just hope to be alive to see Elder Scrolls 6. But nonetheless, it does appear to be coming out. I do think it was perhaps announced a little early back in 2018, probably due to mounting pressure from the fans. I mean, the anticipation is high. Other things to note here is Redfall did release in 2023 as an Xbox exclusive, so that does help lend some credibility to this chart, even though this was years back and things could have changed by now. I imagine most of this information, although dated, is credible. The dates might just look a little bit different in the future. But we are not finished, ladies and gentlemen, and neither is Microsoft. There are just so much information to go over in these leaks. Now, Kotaku did a good job in this article here laying out all the different leaks. I'll link it below if you want to read more. But another big leak is Microsoft and Phil Spencer, the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, discussed in leaked emails the possible acquisition of Nintendo. It reads, "At some point, Spencer wrote getting Nintendo would be a career moment. He speculated that the Japanese games giant could become more open to acquisition offers in the future due to changing pressures on its board of directors. It's just taking a long time for Nintendo to realize that their future exists off their own hardware," he wrote. A long time. I mean, wow, I absolutely did not see this coming, but it appears Microsoft is being extremely ambitious and aggressive in a bid to become number one against its competitors Nintendo and PlayStation. I find this particularly interesting when you consider the fact that if you go to an earlier interview with Phil Spencer, he acknowledges that Microsoft is losing the console war.
It's just the truth of the matter is that when you're third place in the console marketplace,
it seems some kind of beast has awoken inside Microsoft and they're going on a huge buying spree. If you guys remember earlier, I expressed my understanding of Elder Scrolls being exclusive, but the more I read these leaks, the more I feel like Microsoft is going a little too far. I mean, buying Nintendo, Bethesda, and even considering buying Valve, it seems that Microsoft is taking losing the console war to heart and taking extreme action. So with all this information, I do think PlayStation has a right to be concerned with Microsoft buying up too much to dominate the competition. There definitely needs to be some pushback against Microsoft to allow for healthy competition long term. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think below, and if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope to see you on the next one.